Perfecto, vamos a dar entonces inicio a nuestra primera mesa temática, metodologías innovadoras en la enseñanza del chino mandarín. Primero que todo me presento, soy Andrea Mella, coordinadora de cultura de Fundación CLEC. Y vamos a comenzar esta primera mesa dando algunas reglas para los ponentes, ya sea online, pero sobre todo presenciales. Recordarles tratar de ajustarse lo más posible a su tiempo de presentación. Para quienes estén presenciales, les vamos a avisar 5 minutos antes y 2 minutos antes. Nuestro voluntario ahí atrás va a estar con un cartelito y la señalética. Para quienes estén de panelistas en Zoom, también le vamos a avisar de forma interna. Y comenzamos también con las mesas en diferentes idiomas. Les recordamos que nuestro webinar en Zoom está siendo transmitido en chino, en español, en inglés y portugués. Así que también saludamos a todos quienes están conectados de diferentes partes de América Latina. Y comienzo a presentar a nuestros panelistas, tanto presenciales como online. Los voy a presentar en conjunto para luego dar paso a sus presentaciones. Les recordamos que al final de la mesa va a haber un tiempo para preguntas y respuestas. Nuestra primera panelista de forma online es Janine Renée. Lutchman es profesora de lenguas extranjeras y autora con una vasta experiencia en la enseñanza del idioma chino y su cultura, desde preescolar hasta la educación superior en Trinidad y Tobago. Ha desarrollado materiales educativos para la enseñanza en línea y presencial y actualmente es la primera examinadora de chino de la Universidad de las Indias Occidentales del campo de San Augustine. Nuestro segundo panelista presencial es Freddy Fredes, que es licenciado en Lengua y Literatura Hispánica por la Universidad de Chile y máster en Lingüística Aplicada por la Universidad de Shandong, China. Actualmente se desempeña como docente y es coordinador del Instituto Confucio de la Pontificia Universidad Católica de Chile. Tercer panelista es Map Hopao, que es candidato a doctorado del Departamento de Educación en la Universidad Federal de Goiás, Brasil. Ha trabajado en los institutos Confucio de la Universidad de San Simón y la Universidad de Santo Tomé y Príncipe. Y en 2018 fue reconocido como docente destacado a nivel mundial y es autor de la colección de poemas Shishang Shiji. Cuarta panelista es la profesora Renée, que es profesora del Colegio de Chino de la Sociedad de Beneficencia de la Colonia China en Chile. En 2023 participó en un seminario de enseñanza de chino organizado por la Oficina de Asuntos de Chinos de Ultramar del Consejo del Estado de China. Además de sus clases de chino, se dedica a la medicina tradicional china y dirige clases de Qigong. Finalmente, nuestro ponente Pablo Rojas Paredes, que va a ser también de modalidad online, es lingüista y docente de lenguaje y literatura en la Universidad Mayor de San Simón, Cochabamba, Bolivia. Actualmente es codirector del Instituto Confucio de dicha universidad, contribuyendo significativamente al intercambio cultural y académico entre Bolivia y China. Le damos un aplauso a nuestros 5 panelistas y comenzamos con Janine, que es de formato online.
Can everyone hear me? Okay, so good morning. My name is Janine Lutchman, and I'm a local Chinese language teacher at the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine campus. And today I will present to you the role of ICT in enhancing online Chinese language instruction in Trinidad and Tobago. So first, I would like to give you a brief overview of Chinese language teaching in Trinidad and Tobago. The Center for Language Learning, which is a center dedicated to language teaching at the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine campus, introduced Mandarin Chinese to its course offerings in 1996. And at this time, Mandarin was only taught to adults. However, later in 2013, with the introduction of the Confucius Institute, Mandarin was then offered to younger learners. So at present, Mandarin has been taught at private primary and middle schools, as well as it is now taught at 2 public universities, the UE St. Augustine, as well as the UE Roy Tech. And since 2020, we have had a shift to online teaching due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And this online teaching allowed us to reach students in more remote areas in the country. And it even allowed us to begin to offer Chinese to our sister island, Tobago. And now there are 2 streams of courses. So we have a line of courses for members of the public, which is offered in 2 formats, face-to-face and online. And the second program, which is called the Foreign Language Requirement Program, and that is offered to only undergraduate students enrolled in the University of the West Indies. So this presentation, my presentation is based on some research that was carried out between the period 2020 to 2023. And the main objectives were to highlight how technology can be integrated in the foreign language classroom, specifically in the Mandarin Chinese language classroom. And also to investigate the factors that influence student engagement in the virtual classroom. So from the existing literature on the topic of ICT and foreign language learning, there are 3 main points. So 1, ICT integration can help to enhance the 4 fundamental language learning skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing, by providing resources that specifically target them, allows the learner to make some improvements in these skills. Second, ICT makes it easier for learners to access a wider range of authentic resources in the target language, such as through podcasts or even video, so some vlogs. And this exposure to real world language usage is essential for developing fluency and understanding cultural context. So the research indicates that authentic materials actually help students to bridge the gap between classroom learning and real-life application. And 3, ICT allows for collaborative learning. So it facilitates this type of learning environment because students can interact or engage in peer-to-peer interactions through online platforms and through the use of various online tools. And these interactions are critical for practicing skills, language skills, in a social context. And it can eventually lead to improvement in fluency in the language and confidence while speaking and using the language in social contexts. So with respect to the methodology and research design, a total of 126 students from levels 1 to 3 at the University of the West Indies were involved. And the data was collected through evaluation surveys administered by the Center for Language Learning. A sample of 24 students from the total population participated in an online interview to gain a deeper insight into their experience in the online classes and their opinions on the activities done. Also, we did some observation. So some observation notes were taken at the end of each teaching week to record student engagement and their response to the various activities. Based on the findings, ICT integration positively influenced learner engagement. So students were very satisfied with their experience and cited tools such as Google Classroom, Pleco, WhatsApp, TikTok as key factors for making Chinese language class more enjoyable. And the students also commended the teacher's role in effectively using these tools to pique their interest in studying Chinese, which further suggests that this teacher plays an instrumental role in the ICT integration process in the foreign language classroom. So now I would like to give you an insight into some of the activities that were cited as most popular by the students. So the first one was meme creation. So students were asked to create memes in groups using a wide variety of tools such as Canva, PowerPoint, and an app on the Google Play Store called Meme Generator. And the main objective of this activity was to give students the opportunity to creatively express themselves in Mandarin Chinese, allow them to process their emotions when learning a language that is so vastly different from their own, because we natively speak English in Trinidad and Tobago. And it also allowed the students to reflect on new grammar points and vocabulary learned. So this activity is typically done with the level 1 group, specifically the level 1B group, because these students would have already completed 1 semester of Chinese language study. And it worked culturally because in Trinidad and Tobago, we have a culture of humor. So making jokes to comment on difficult situation is very common for us. So students resonated well with this type of activity. Activity 2, flashcard creation. So to allow students to share knowledge with each other, they were asked to create vocabulary cards based on new words learned in class to share among their classmates. So after creating each card in class, students would elect a group leader who would then present the card in Chinese using the appropriate grammar structures learned in class. For example, on the left, there is a card based on a weather report. So students were given a world city and were asked to use any dictionary app. So the most popular one would have been Pleco dictionary app. And they were told to search the meaning of this, to find the word in Chinese of this city. And then they used Canva to create a weather report card. And in class, they presented a weather report based on this particular city using the grammar and vocabulary from our textbook chapter dedicated on weather. Similarly, on the right, there's a card with a country's name on it. So students were asked to look up the name of a different country and then use different grammar structures, such as how to using the verb 是 or using the adverb 也 or 不 to make sentences using this country's name. The third activity, review games, chapter review games. So at the end of each chapter, I made some review games using PowerPoint to have the students review the content covered in each chapter. And at the end of each game, students were introduced to some character in Chinese folklore. So they essentially have to use their Chinese to battle these characters. And these, this Chinese, it involves using like different grammar or vocabulary structures to complete language-based tasks. So here in this screenshot, they specifically battled the Monkey King. And after completing this activity, they were given resources to do further research on who the Monkey King was and what is his role in Chinese culture. Activity 4, virtual Chinese writing. So students are normally asked to do self-study with writing because time in the classroom is dedicated primarily to listening speaking, and reading. So we tend to give the students the strokeorder.info website to be able to guide them to write Chinese characters more effectively. And an online grid that we provide to them in PDF format, and they will print it out and complete it, submit it to their teacher for comments and feedback. Activity 5, conversation prompts using an app called Bitmoji. So Bitmoji is an app that is used to create cartoon versions of oneself. So since the majority of the student population during this period spent times under lockdown conditions, so indoors, they were unable to go out and use their Chinese in social contexts. So we felt it necessary to create very authentic scenes using Bitmoji and PowerPoint for students to mimic real life scenarios in which they can use Chinese. So for example, in this particular screenshot, this is an activity that was done with the level 3A group. So they were learning fruit names. And in this scene, they had to simulate dialogues in which they ordered fruits in Chinese. So the activity tested their ability to use appropriate measure words when referring to fruits, as well as pricing. So asking the price and giving the price of different fruits, and of course, using the names of the fruits in Chinese. And the last activity, which was also very popular among the students, was vlogging and other video projects. So because of the conditions during this period of time, it allowed us to get very well acquainted with technology. And students were encouraged to use video creation tools to talk about their life in Chinese, and to also document and speak about their surroundings, as well as do other fun activities together, for example, to make a music video together. So in the Chinese 2A class, the first picture is a screenshot from one of their topics on daily routine. So they were asked to film one day in their life and narrate it as best as they could using the grammar points and vocabulary done in class to narrate their entire day. The other two screenshots are from a music video that students would have shot to create awareness of better health practices during the COVID pandemic. So in conclusion, ICT has shown transformative potential in Chinese language instruction, significantly enhancing student satisfaction through innovative technology use. And to fully harness its potential is crucial to cultivate digital literacy among both learners and teachers, and to stay informed about the latest trends in technology. And by doing so, we will be able to create more engaging, effective, and accessible language learning experiences for everyone. So these are some of the references that I would have used for this study, and I thank you for your attention. 谢谢大家。